We're here to commence our Tri-Valley San Joaquin Valley Regional Rail Authority board meeting on November 10th, 2021. And I would like to, hopefully we have a quorum. We actually start with a call to order and a pledge of allegiance. And I wanted to ask, I don't know if I don't see our supervisor Rickman. Is he in? I was gonna call him to see if he can guide us.
He is not on yet.
He is not on yet. Ben.
Yes.
Would you mind giving us the honor of leading us on the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
You know, it's been like 65 years since I last did it in front of a class.
Putting you back on the spot 65 years later.
All right. Here we go. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
We really appreciate that. And now can we move to roll call, please?
Okay. Directors Akinjo,
Yeah, ma'am.
Cantu,
Here.
Harvard, Hernandez,
Yes.
Hudson, Kick, King Tingle,
Here.
McPartland,
Here.
Neram,
Here.
Rickman, Stepper,
Here.
Vargas,
Here.
Warner,
Here.
Wright, Zuba.
Here.
Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Candace. We will open now public comments. Do we have anybody from the public that wishes to make comments not on the agenda and in regards to our project?
I do not have any attendees with a hand raised.
All right. No letters received.
No letters have been received from the public or emails.
All right, I'll bring it back to the board and close the public comments and go to item 4, consent item agenda. And this will be the review of the October 13, 2021 minutes, the treasurer's report from May 2021, and to approve the resolution R17-2021, conducting meeting using teleconference pursuant to Government Code 54953 and amended by the AB 361.
I'd be happy to move approval of the entire consent agenda, items A, B, and C.
I'll second.
Okay, I heard a move by Director Stepper and a second by Director Nuren. Do we have to make a roll call, Michael, or we can just say aye? Roll call. All right, roll call it is.
Okay. Akinjo,
Yes, ma'am.
Cantu,
Yes.
did we get Hobart? Hernandez,
Yes.
Hudson, Kick.
I just jumped on.
Mhm.
What are we voting on?
The consent calendar,
Yes.
minutes, treasurer's report, and the resolution to continue meeting remotely.
Yes.
Okay. King Tingle,
Yes.
McPartland,
Yes.
Neram,
Yes.
did we get Rickman? Stepper,
Yes.
Vargas,
Yes.
Warner,
Yes.
Wright, Zuba.
Yes.
Motion passes
Thank you so much, everybody. Moving to agenda item number 5, which is Executive Director's Report. Who will be giving the honors today?
Madam Chair, I think we have the fiscal year 2021 financial statements.
You're absolutely right. Pardon me. I stand corrected. Number 4.
Thank you. I am going to actually just turn this over to David Alvey. He is our audit partner from Mason Associates, and I will let him go over any highlights and answer any questions.
Perfect. Well, thank you for having me. My name is David Alvey, and I'm the audit partner with Mason Associates, and we're the authority's independent external auditor. And our job every year is to come in and audit the financial statements of the authority and to render opinion. So we have for you today 2 documents. So the basic financial statements for the year ending June 30, 2021. And then the second document is called the Memorandum on Internal Controls, also known as the management letter. So jumping into the basic financial statements, technically the only part of this document that my firm owns is the audit opinion, and they start on page 1 of the document. And I'm pleased to say it is an unmodified or clean audit opinion, and that's the highest level of assurance that a firm can give an entity. So congratulations, you have a clean audit opinion. As you know, this is the second year now that we have standalone financial statements for the authority, and we're going to continue on doing that in the years going forward. The Memorandum on Internal Control is my firm's communication with this board of telling you things that we found during the audit. And they can be categorized into 3 different areas. Material weakness, so something material can flow through the internal control structure and not get caught. We have none of those. Significant deficiencies, that something significant can flow through. We have none of those. And then the last is a catch-all. It's just called Other Matters. And the only thing we have in the Other Matters section is upcoming Government Accounting Standards Board pronouncements that are coming down for the next couple years, just so you're kind of up to date on what's coming down the pipeline in terms of that. The second part of the Memorandum on Internal Controls is the required communication. And this is communication that I'm supposed to talk to you about. And it's that we had no issues with any of the accounting policies at the authority. We found no unusual items that we need to bring to your attention. We had no issues with management's accounting estimates and no difficulties with management through the audit. So we don't feel that management was trying to hinder our scope or hold back from us. And we were able to get in and do our audit effectively and efficiently. And with that, I'd just like to open up to any questions and thank Tamara for all of her help. It's always difficult to do these real quick turnaround and especially during doing them remote. And so thank her for all of her help.
I want to say congratulations to all the staff, and the stellar audit is once again receiving the very high rating level as possible is a sense of pride. And I especially want to say thank you, Tamara, our director. Tamara Edwards is our director of finance, for her hard work and to make this possible. It is not a small task, and is so much and deeply appreciated, all the hard work, and it shows when we have this kind of audit on this high rating in front of us. So thank you so much, Tamara.
So Madam Chair, it'd be appropriate to have a motion to accept the financial report.
Absolutely, it will be appropriate.
Hernandez will motion.
Do I have a second?
Zuber will second.
Thank you, Surreal. So we have a motion by our Vice Chair Hernandez and Director Surreal. Could we have a roll call, please?
Kinjo,
Yes, ma'am.
Cantu,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
King Tingle,
Yes.
McPartland,
Yes.
Neram. Yes. Stepper,
Yes.
Vargas,
Yes.
Warner,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Zubo.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Wonderful. Moving along now to an executive director's report.
All right. Everybody hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, listen, it's great to be with you this afternoon. There's some information in the executive director's report. I'm sure you've had a chance to read, but would certainly want to give your deputy executive director, Kevin Sheridan, just a few minutes to chat about the work that's going with Caltrans. It's the most, obviously the most sophisticated and costly piece of the Valley Link project. So getting that work moving and keeping it moving is really important. So Kevin, wondering if you could just give the board a quick update on where we're at with Caltrans in regard to, what we've been able to accomplish and what's right around the corner.
Certainly. Thanks, and good afternoon, Chair and members of the board. So since the board approved the amendment to the cooperative agreement in July, I believe a question was raised about when we'd complete or when Caltrans is expected to approve the project initiation document. As promised at the board meeting, they did sign the project initiation document on October 28th. And what that does is sets in motion the next steps for Caltrans to be able to review what will be the beginning of the project approval and environmental document phase to explore the alternatives and the alternative that was approved in the CEQA EIR. So it's very positive. It sets the stage for the next steps on how to complete this next phase, which is very important to secure federal funding in the future, and also to start making our applications outlining where we're at in that process for the environmental process under NEPA, which is a requirement for federal funds. So it was a big planning milestone to get that completed, and the partnering is going very well with Caltrans, and looking forward to moving on to the next phase of work.
I want to say, I'm going to start calling you the Caltrans Whisperer. Kevin, you have done an unbelievable work during this fall and this busy, incredible season that we have our project and how we're moving forward. I am impressed. This process is complex to coordinate with Caltrans is a huge agency, and as we all know, whoever deal ever with a project in Caltrans, they will know what I'm talking about. So thank you, sir, for all your hard work. Is noted and very much appreciated.
So I had just a few additional comments on the executive director's report, kind of in addition to what you see in writing. And that is certainly there's a lot of planning activities going on, and most importantly, there's an infrastructure bill that has moved in Washington, D.C. And Mary Ann Payne has been following closely all of these planning efforts and opportunities. And I wonder if she could just take maybe a couple of minutes and give the board a quick briefing on those things.
Okay, Marianne, you're on the spot, but you're on mute. You have to unmute yourself.
I'm back. I had this graphic of an air traffic controller screen that I was going to ask Candace to put up, because that's what it feels like most days. There's incoming and things leaving and coming. And I think in the interest of time, I'd say that a big milestone was the adoption of the MTC Plan Bay Area 2050 plan. And that happened on October 21st. And now they have launched immediately into the implementation phase, which the light at the end of the tunnel is sometimes another train. It's a revision of the TOD policy. So more to come on that. I think they're looking at completing that beginning of the year, and may require us taking a look at our TOD policy in the Tri-Valley anyway. As everybody remembers, the policy we have in place mirrors the previous policy. So they're raising the bar a little bit. They're not going to be looking at quarter level thresholds. It's going to be more station specific and PDAs. So feel really positive about the station area work that all the communities are doing right now. So I think we got this, or we could. So hopefully, we're closely watching also the San Joaquin Envision 2050 with some activities happening at the end of the month, adopting a scenario. And then the Tri-Valley Transportation Council is moving forward with an expenditure plan. And I know Director Kick is on that committee that's meeting at 4 today, I believe. And we're watching that very closely because Valley Link stations are in the mix right now. So we're just hoping that we can hold our own on that funding. And then as Michael mentioned, the big event is the infrastructure bill. And it's been quite a roller coaster ride watching that things happening, coming and going in the plan. I think just for now, I'd say that it's more than 1,000 pages long. I'm actually reading it because I find it so interesting to see all of the little nooks and crannies. And I think there's a lot of promise for Valley Link. It increases the discretionary funding, doubles funding for the capital investment grant program, which we are moving into. And there's a lot in there. I feel we've had discussions from Congressman Swalwell's office about how our project aligns so well with a lot of the Biden initiatives in the bill. So we're all about climate and equity. And I think there's a lot of pots of money that will compete well in. And then there's also, I don't think I can provide a lot of information about this now, but there are some, at least funding for at least 4 regional clean hydrogen hubs. So we're keeping an eye on that as well. So
bullseye on those.
Yeah, there's also money for wildlife crossings and just all kinds of things that are so interesting and possibly related to the work we're doing on Valley Link. So I don't know, Michael, what did I leave out?
You know, I think you identified the key things. I know that staff's really engaged with your lobbyists on this project. We're having just about daily briefings with members of the legislature, with Sacramento, with the governor's office, with CalSTA, with CTC. So I think the big soundbite is there's lots of opportunity that's arising, that's just right around the corner that I think Valley Link can benefit from, and especially with the infrastructure bill.
I want to say, you guys, if that's okay, are you guys done? I wanted to make a couple comments in regards to this, because I had the opportunity to just, I'm learning a lot about hydrogen energy sustainability, mainly because I was appointed to be the chair of the Transportation, Public Works and Communication by the Cal Cities for the state of California. And as I'm trying to educate myself, there are some things that we're doing here that will work hand in hand. I want to say, first of all, on the advocacy for the RFP, I look forward to the possibility of bringing state dollars and federal advocacy support for this project. Of course, we always look into that. The financial advocacy services are huge, and it could have a increase a certain much needed resources, increases to our abilities to move this project forward, particularly in light of the new funding opportunities emerging from the state level. With that said, part of the TOD conversation is going to be another conversation that each individual director in this board should start socializing with your communities again, your city managers, your planning directors, and planning staff. What we're doing is living documents that just continue to evolve as technology and progress evolve. So Marianne just made a key point over there that we used to have a corridor, and that may now change per station's need. So I encourage that hopefully there are some staff members in this conversation listening in, and they can just make those little summary notes to go back to their city managers and staff directors and levels to communicate that to their council and mayors and boards, so we can really be working together in something that will work for every community. Early on, 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago, when we started this process, it was important to all of us not to impose and the makeup and feel and of the fabric of each community, but we want to be an added commodity to that. With that said, every TOD needs to be addressed specifically to each community that we come in. And in regards to the infrastructure bill, Marianne, kudos for you following that. That is not easy. You said it. Roller coaster is to put it mildly. What all those stuff has been happening there. I encourage you to keep working on that. Keep your eyes peeled on the funding opportunities. And I know that this report is huge. Kudos to you that you cannot put those task patients book down. And please let us know if any of us directors here, you know that we are a working group, and I know that every member in this board is willing to pitch in and roll their sleeves and get to work with you guys. So I don't want to overspeak, but that's been always the sentiment of each one of us, and that's what I love working with this group. And those are my little comments. You guys are killing it, doing a great job. Please keep up all those efforts. We will get there. Does anybody else from the directors have any comments or suggestions or questions? I see none. Oh, yes, Michael.
I just wanted to make note that, we continue with our internal special task force, if you will, looking at hydrogen, looking at the opportunities for a hydrogen plant to create green hydrogen for the train system, looking at the trains themselves. There was a note in the executive director's report on how we're doing with that. There's a meeting that has been called by Actc at the director level with stakeholders in November to talk about hydrogen at a regional level. And so not to forget about, board member Warner and his comment a meeting or two back as far as who's on point with hydrogen. I think a lot will come out of this meeting with Actc, with the stakeholders. You have a director there who's engaged and who understands hydrogen. So I just wanted to make sure you knew we were working really hard behind the scenes on that. That could be one of the marquees of this project, is the first train in the nation and perhaps even the world to come out of the gate on day one with a hydrogen train system. And that's has a lot of traction in Washington and a lot of traction in Sacramento. And I'll end by saying that I don't see board member Hudson or board member
I know.
Robert here today, but I will tell you, I've been on the East Coast with both of them this week, and they came through their own member agencies, but we have been working diligently with Ballard on a brand new fuel cell that they are coming out with, which could be not only good for bus agencies, but also for the Valley Link project. So it was really great to see both of the board members fully engaged with the manufacturer on understanding what a fuel cell is, understanding how hydrogen works and what its advantages are, and quite frankly, perhaps what its disadvantages are on occasion. So I didn't see them here. I think they're both in the air, or both probably with some severe jet lag. But that concludes my report. I just wanted to make sure you knew that that was a really important point that we're following up on.
I
appreciate
understand that
that.
Dave Hudson is coming in at 3.
Yes, thank you, Director Stepper. And I wanted to ask he put his hands up already. So Director Warner, I can't wait to hear from you. I'm very excited. It's no secret that even from our previous chair, technology being innovative, being sustainable, it is a goal of this group. So please share some words with us.
Oh, I was just going to say, very glad to hear the comments about hydrogen and in particular that this could be first and that would be another driver for us to get the requisite funding. I think that's fantastic.
Talk about fantastic, right? This is an amazing opportunity. So I'm glad that we're looking in technology. When we did the EIR, of course, and TOD a couple of years ago, that was not part of it, but now it is, and that's what we, continue to evolve. Talk about living documents and being with the time and being progressive. If nobody else has any comments, we can move to the next item on the agenda. Just wanted to keep
one member of the public with the hand raised.
Oh, right. Oh, yes. Thank you, Candace. I appreciate that. Then we'll go to the public for public comment. Mr. Van Gogh.
It's Vaughn Wolf, by the way. One question is for Michael. Is the ACTC meeting going to be available to the public? And my comment on the hydrogen is, in one of the big issues is it green hydrogen or is it the oil companies' version of hydrogen, which is two totally different things. And the oil companies are putting a lot of pressure on this because they're expecting to be in favor of hydrogen. So with carbon capture is almost a worthless adventure, and nobody's been able to prove that it's going to get all the carbon it needs to capture anyways, and it's still not going to be cheaper than green hydrogen when they do it in mass production. So you got to look for the oil companies coming in and trying to get the proverbial camel's nose under the tent to get in, so it can get in on the gravy, because it's going to sop it all up, and the green hydrogen thing will fall apart. And your trains won't be anywhere near as clean as you might think if they're burning something other than green hydrogen. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. And I'm tickled for our staff to respond to our A, B, and C opportunities over there.
Yeah, you want to take a stab at that, Veronica?
Please, please.
So the meeting at ACTC is being called by Tess, and she's invited some stakeholders and some experts, but I'm not clear at this point whether that's a public meeting or something that she's organizing internally with kind of her staff and a few other stakeholder staff members. But that would be a good question to ask. I'm sure should say immediately, her thoughts on that. And then in regard to the hydrogen, the city of Tracy had been, very responsive in providing to the board the 200 acres, which we in our 15% design had integrated a solar field into about half of that acreage, about 100 acres, as well as the potential for some wind power. So our thought, Vaughn, is that we're going to try and get as close as we can to producing enough green hydrogen through those green, tools to run the Valley Link system. And I think that's really the crux of it that our team's working really closely with experts on is, can we do that? And what's the backup plan in the event that, there's a few too many days of cloudy weather, whether there's a backup plan of using natural gas just for the occasion when the natural resources aren't creating the hydrogen that's needed for the system. We actually think that there might be an opportunity to create additional green hydrogen off the solar fields and wind power to actually provide in a private-public partnership to trucking industry and perhaps to others who are, getting into hydrogen as a technology for their fleets.
All right. Is any other comments from the public?
I do not have anyone else with a hand raised.
All right. With that said, I will close the public comments and bring it back to Director Warner.
I would just want to point out, I mean, look at the background Michael's got, it's green, so I'm sure we're going for green hydrogen, right? But the point is, in my mind, you need the engines to run on hydrogen, and that's the key, and then we'll get the hydrogen to be as green as possible. But the thought that there might be some transition problem, so never even think about it, is not something that I would consider to be a problem. So that we get the right engines to run on hydrogen, and we'll get the green hydrogen. And we're talking long term here, and there will be excess generation of the renewables because of the difference between the peak of the generation and the peak of the demand. And that's where it'll come from.
I see. Thank you, Director Warner. Is there any other questions from anybody else? Seeing none, we'll move to item number 7, which is the resolution of R18-2021 Econ Contract Agreement Addendum number 5. And do we have a staff report on this?
Good afternoon, Chair. This is Kevin Sheridan. I'd like to request that we pull this item from the agenda for this meeting. There's been some additional questions that were raised after the board mail out was done, and we'd like to take some time to further address those questions and come back with a report on what the staff report is describing and why staff feels it is appropriate route to go as far as recommending to the board. But probably by December, for the December board meeting, we'd like to come back and revisit it.
I am okay with that. We need a roll call, Mr. Corner, or we can just pull it? Perfect. Then let's pull that and we will revisit in December. Thank you, Kevin. All right, we're moving right on today. Director's discussion, number 8. Comment, questions on any upcoming agendas? I know that Michael or Kevin will be visiting the city of Tracy next Tuesday, giving an update to our city council. They were there they were actually in Mount House, visiting Mount House and giving an update there, which I heard great things and a lot of enthusiastic support, not only from the board, but residents in particular reaching out, looking forward to what we're doing next. And please, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys need an update, and I see Karen Stepper, Director Stepper, do you have any comments?
I just had a comment because we kind of went through the last one and we're going to hold it over. So I just want to make sure that when it comes back, that it comes back with the comments that we've been getting some calls on with respect to sole sourcing versus competitive bidding and the need to have federal reimbursement funds and the September 9th, 20th agenda.
Duly noted. Anyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Paul.
Yeah, just to agree with Director Stepper that those things are really critical for this item to come back. He cannot come back with half preparation. He has to come back with the details, because we do not want to lock this board, or we don't want to lock this mission of this Valley Link into one place. We need to open it up, and perception is everything in this place. The way we do business, it has to be transparent and be open. So let's put that into consideration as you are preparing to bring this item back to the board. Thank you.
Noted. Thank you, Director Akincho. I know that we have to adjourn this session to go to closed session, and then we will be back to report if anything's reporting. So with that said, is there any motion to not end, but just to go to closed session?
Without objection,
adjourn to closed session.
Perfect.
Without objection, you can simply adjourn.
All right. So we will sign out, and you guys all been provided a private link to go to closed session, and then we will sign back in probably. And how long, Mr. Cameron? In 15, 20 minutes?
I'd say 30, 45 minutes.
30, 45 minutes. We'll be back. Thank you, sir.
Chair Vargas. This is Director Tingle. Probably after closed session, I'll probably have to leave to go to another meeting. So I'll sign into closed session now.
All right. Thank you, Director. We still have a quorum?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, that'll bring us to adjournment of the closed session. And I will speak to my counselor attorney to see if we have anything to report.
Madam Chair, the board met in closed session to discuss the evaluation of the Executive Director, Michael Tree. There were no reportable actions taken. The board does not plan to act on the compensation issue at this time, so I believe the board is free to adjourn if that's your pleasure.
That is my pleasure. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second vote.
Then we are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you guys next month.